The recent death of 2 toddlers at a Johannesburg preschool has served as a reminder for parents to make sure institutions they place their children in are registered as legitimate early childhood development centres. The landlords of the preschool in Westdene, where the 2 children died, apparently from rat poison, refused entry to officials in order to investigate. It was later established the centre was run illegally. To discuss this, we're joined in studio by Kebareng Ntwampe, who is the Director for Children's Services at the Gauteng Department of Social Development. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.
So let's start by talking about the requirements that are needed for something to become a creche or a child-minding facility. What are the requirements?
The requirement initially is that the organization would be registered as an NPO. After that, then they will go to the local municipality so that they can meet the bylaws with regards to zoning, building plans, also the food handling certificates and the environmental health certificates. After acquiring that, then they will come to the Department of Social Development to apply to render an ECD program, Early Childhood Development Program. The requirements for that is that the staff members should be vetted against the Child Protection Register to ensure that they are suitable to work with children. We will also look at the qualifications of the ECD practitioners and the experience that the owner of the ECD would have. We will look at the ratios of children within the center, the nutrition, the menu that they will have, and the curriculum that they plan to render to the children.
So this now, once they've gone through all of this, then they will be given a license. And any parent that takes their child to one of these day schools or child-minding facilities, they need to look at these licenses to make sure that they are registered. That's freely available to any parent that wants to go and enroll their child there?
Yes, it is freely available. And when we enter into the ECD, these certificates should actually be mounted on the walls so that you can be able to see them. And it also, beyond that, you need to look at the number of children within the ECD, because we also don't want overcrowding of children.
What's a normal amount? I mean, what would you suggest is the, well, not suggest, but what is the law? What does it say?
The law will prescribe that for 0 to 2-year-old, it should be 1:6, and then 2 to 3, it will be 6:12. And then 3 to 4, it will be 1:20, and then 4 to 5, it will be around 1:30.
Yeah, so that's, you must make sure that that's, when you go in there, that's ensured. What about, for instance, let's just say the province. I mean, do you have a database where the public can actually go and have a look? You know, if I want to go and have a look and see my kid goes to this little preschool, can I type it in, see on your website, okay, no, it's fine, they are registered. Do you have that?
Unfortunately, our website is not up to date as yet, but parents can call our offices. They can even call the nearest social development offices, and we will be able to give them the number of ECDs in the area closest to them and to say whether they're registered or not.
Why would it not be up to date? I mean, you know, sometimes phoning any government department has to be one of the most frustrating things that we can go through. Why would you not update your website?
It's probably because there's challenges with our IT. I know that is under construction. Currently, what the department is busy with is the mapping of ECD, so that even if we say this ECD is registered, you are able to check on the map to say how far the distance is from your house. So we are busy with mapping the ECD services, which will be all inclusive, the non-center based and the center based facilities.
Yeah, you know, it's a worry because these things are happening. Now, for instance, I mean, let's talk to how many illegal facilities that you come across. How often do you come across these illegal facilities?
It is a lot. As a department, we did the audits of ECDs, and in the province, we're talking close to 1,300 ECDs. And there is a problem of mushrooming of ECDs, which is critical. And as a department, we go on media awareness campaigns, we do community awareness campaigns to educate around what is it that is an ECD, but also what parents need to look for when they apply for admission of their children into an ECD.
Yeah, you know, I mean, this particular facility that we're talking about, the owner of the property says they're not running a preschool. It's a child minding facility that his worker just earns a bit of spare cash on the sideline by looking after children in the neighborhood. What's the difference? So, I mean, okay, he's classifying this. However, apparently, from what I've read in law, is that if you are looking after or child minding more than 5 children, you need to be registered. Below that, you don't need to be registered. Is that true?
Not necessarily. What we're doing now is also, I mentioned non-center based services earlier on. In a non-center, you should at least have 6 children, and then we will register you, but you are linked into a hub, which will also have a number of children maximum. So whether you'll have 3 or 4 children, but you will still have to be registered. In law, you need to be registered to care for children. So in this instance, they were supposed to be registered, and like I indicated in terms of the ratios, 1:6, and we note that in this ECD it was way beyond that.
Yeah, you know what concerns me more than anything, and I know that the Joburg Health MMC has admitted that the department dropped the ball on this one. Mpopalatse. This incident happened on the 10th of May. We're now sitting on, I've even forgotten the date. I mean, we're on the 14th of June. Yeah. How did you not know this happened? 2 children dying in a facility reported at a police station with these allegations made against there, and you guys are none the wiser, which makes me think that you actually don't even know what's going on in these daycare clinics.
Unfortunately, with unregistered ECDs, we wouldn't know what is happening in them. And as much as we have a database and we're auditing, we wouldn't know how many are out there and what they're happening. But with registered ECDs, they are capacitated in terms of child protection and child protection protocols to say when there is an incident, they need to report to us, they need to report to SAB. So in this instance, that's why it took so long for social development to actually know about the incident.
Would SABS not report it to you? I mean, if this was reported a month ago, would they not come to you and say, listen, we've heard of a child mining facility, 2 little ones have died there, don't you want to check this out? We don't know what's going on. Did the police not come to you and tell you about this report?
No, it didn't happen until we went to them to find out what actually happened, and also to find out in terms of protocol, why was it not brought to our attention.
Yeah. So what's happening? There's been no arrests. We know that the facility is not operating. What are you doing?
For us, in terms of social development, is to ensure that the children are protected. So the route that we will take is to look around the area, identify the registered ECDs, and give that as an option to the parents to say that is where they can take the ECDs. And then also in terms of funding, then we will up that so that these children are also covered accordingly.
Yeah. Do you, when you find out that there are these illegal operations, I mean, do you even for legal operations, let's talk about legal operations, do you go in and do random checks? Do you go in and ensure that they're abiding by the laws and they're not abusing children?
Yes, we do. We do monitoring on a regular basis, at least one visit every 3 months. And also, it's not just the Department of Social Development that will do spot check. You will have the Department of Health that plays a role. You will have the Department of Education that plays a role also in terms of the curriculum development and to check that the children are really receiving the curriculum that is according to the national framework.
Yeah. You know, we obviously we can point fingers and blame everybody in this case because we've lost 2 lives, and they are innocent little lives that everybody is blaming. So you got the owner saying that they didn't eat food on the property; it was brought from home. Where do parents come into all of this? Because we've got to also look to parents and say, did you do the right checks? Did you look and see if this was okay for your child? So what responsibility lies with parents in all of this?
Beyond checking if whether the ECD centers or programs are registered, parents need to play an important role, an active role in their children's education. For instance, when a child comes home, check if they are okay, there are no marks that they cannot account for, what happened at school, and also to say what is it that they learned at school, but also be active in the running of the school. Know the teachers, know how many children are there. Just check around, is the area safe as well for your little one?
Yeah, I mean, should it not be a rule or a law that any registered must actually have that certificate right at the entrance as you walk in, even outside the school, just so you know that this is a legal facility? Because I mean, if you're telling me that you know of over 1,000 that are operating illegally, can you imagine how many there actually are? That you know of, or 1,000, there must be double that.
It is possible, but with regards to the norms and standards of ECDs, they need to mount those certificates.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
into
you need
the
to
entrance.
fix your website.
Yes,
That is and you need to.
we
They
need
can
to.
mount, but
We
you
need,
need to fix
yes,
that up.
we need
and
to
you guys
work on
are taking blame for some of this because, you know, as parents, we're dependent on these kind of things. A month later, 2 children dying, you didn't even know about it. So, I mean, these are emotive issues that we can't let our children go through anymore. So, have you got timelines of when these things will all be fixed up?
In terms of the website, hopefully by end of this quarter. And also in terms of the ECDs that are not registered, just to state that there are programs that are in place to try and up them to be at the registration and at the compliant level. So there are a number of programs within the department to try and ensure that they become compliant and registered accordingly.
If you know of any of these illegal operations happening in your area, please report them. They can report them to you. Can they phone
Yes,
you
they
and
can
get
phone.
hold of you? They don't deserve to be operating, and you can see what happens if they don't reach these standards. So, Kebareng Ntwampe from the Gauteng Department of Social Development talking to us about the importance of checking the registration of any creche or preschool before you enroll your children. It is vital. It could turn out to be fatal if in fact they are operating illegally and abusing their children. All right, let's take a